there's an injustice, whether it's against you or someone you love or someone you believe in, stand up. Don't sit down. Don't sit down on them, because they need you.
Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signore, and it's Monday. Oh my, it's Tuesday. What day is it? Today's Monday, right?
It's Monday.
It is Monday. I'm so out of it. But it's been so nice to have a break from this trial. I got to be honest. I know a lot of you are having withdrawal, but oh my God, it took a lot the past few weeks documenting all this. And so we're now playing catch up on some other stories. And there's a big one trending today with Kate Moss. So I thought, well, let's bring in the expert, Christopher Melcher, attorney at law. So happy to have him here as he tries to explain why was Ben Chu so excited there, as well as it's Kim. Always happy to have you, Kim. Welcome both to the show. How are you both doing?
Great, Andy. Thanks for having me. I've been enjoying the break also, and trying to get caught up on some Twitter threads that I've been working on, and it's a great story. There's so much to it.
It doesn't let up. It's true, even on the week off. Kim, are you noticing it too? Or still, I mean, we're still sharing links throughout the feed. It's every day. There's more and more stuff from we're uncovering that people are just, they want more.
It's everywhere. Like, you can't get away from it. It was kind of one of those things, like, I thought, like, is this just my world? Is this my little bubble echo chamber that all I'm seeing is Johnny? And then, like, I step outside of it and I'm like, no, everybody's just talking about this.
It's so true. I went to the dentist this morning because this week I'm finally my timings will be off because I'm finally catching up on all my doctors this week, and I went to the dentist and he's like, "What do you do?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm YouTube." He's like, "Oh, what are you talking about?" And I was like, "Oh, right now I'm covering the Johnny Depp trial," and then immediately we were all just like, "He's like, can you believe she pooped in the bed?" It's just wild. And then the receptionists are like, "Oh yeah, everybody is consuming this." It really does. It's like the binge watch. We're all watching this show at the same time as it unfolds. And so
for me, the weirdest thing was a couple days ago, I went on TikTok. I'm not on TikTok. Like, I have a TikTok, but I don't post on it. It's my lurking account. And I looked up the tag and I keep seeing us. Like, we're all over it. I'm like, how
people, I know, I should have. Somebody who knows TikTok.
Paralyzed dog gets second chance at life.
Oh my God, stop. I don't understand TikTok. I'm such a boomer.
Either, and that's the thing.
Everyone's just stealing our stuff, and I'm like, I guess we should be huge on TikTok. I guess we sort of are. But for the record, I have a TikTok, and I posted one. Can I show you? Just reminded me. Let me show you my quick TikTok.
My dog stepped on a bee.
I'm all out of TP. They didn't have my size at Old Navy. My family ate all the macaroni. The only thing to watch online is Drive Angry. Oh, it's such a bad movie.
My dog stepped on a bee.
What is that face? What is she doing? I'm a dog stepped on a bee. So anyway, I didn't come up with that trend. It's now a trend when everyone's just Dr. Seussing her stepping on a bee. So I realized I got to try and get on this TikTok trends. But if anybody knows how to help me clip for TikTok and you're good at this, please reach out, because I don't know. It feels like I should be doing better on this platform. And kudos to the platform, because they're finding things out. They're investigating. They're really getting invested. And you'd think like the younger TikTok generation might have been over Johnny Depp and not cared about this or supported and believed all women. It's really encouraging to see, everybody, all ages, really coming together to call out this fraud that is Amber Heard. So bravo, TikTok. I stan you as well. Christopher, have you noticed the TikTok? I mean, is that above you too? Has TikTok now infiltrated your world as well?
Well, yeah, I missed the boat on that. I mean, I'm still old school too. YouTube and Twitter. I don't know how to use Instagram, so it's embarrassing. But I just my brain is just still wrapping its head around Twitter and YouTube.
Yeah, I'm gonna try. People have keep telling me join my TikTok. There it is. I'll try to find. I've done a couple funny ones in my past. My daughter knows it. I got to get her more, but she doesn't know this case. She's too young. But I will try to get more activated on TikTok. Since you're right, Kim, a lot of people are now using us and talking about us. But the other thing they're talking about today is Kate Moss. My God, look how good looking this couple is. This is like
gorgeous.
Back in the day. My God, this is a stunning couple. They were the it couple of the 90s, and they were together for several years. And what happened during the trial, in fact, I guess Amber referenced Kate Moss and being thrown downstairs as she testified in this sister fight. I thought it might be better just to sort of play this clip as Amber brings it up.
He was up the first flight of stairs. Again, I'm on the mezzanine, which is in between two flights of stairs. He bolted up the steps, and I don't know. I don't know how he managed to get his hands in my hair so fast, but he had his hand on the back of my head, my hair.
By the way, the other amazing thing on TikTok is when TikTokers recreate Amber's descriptions. It's amazing because it's hard. She's all over the place. It makes no sense when she's turning and where she's sitting and recollecting everything. It's
the sitting on the couch one and then ending up on the carpet.
We're sitting on the couch. I'm on the edge of the couch and I'm sitting on the carpet. It's like, where are you sitting, girl? How do you forget all these basic details?
And kind of was yanking me down and hit me in the...
so many specifics, right? So many specifics as she's trying to recollect things. I'm also trying to avoid certain keywords here, so that's why I'm pausing.
Face with this cast he had. So
I'm sure she was not yelling at all, regardless of this fight, right, Kim? I'm sure she was just this docile woman who was just like, please, Johnny, I'm just trying to be fair and understanding with you. Don't you think that? I'm sure there was Amber never wants to admit what we hear in the tapes of just how aggressive, right, she is in telling all these stories. She plays herself as this, I was just sitting there on the couch and then, oh my God, and then on the floor and oh my God.
Remember this brief struggle we had before kind of break away. Whitney, my sister,
what?
All of a sudden put herself in between Johnny and I. She just threw herself.
What?
Like in the line of fire or whatever. She just all of a sudden was there and was trying to get Johnny to stop. Her back was to the staircase. And Johnny swings at her. And I just see my little sister with her back her back to the staircase. And Johnny swings at her, and I don't even wait for any other, I don't hesitate, I don't wait, I just in my head instantly think of Kate Moss and the stairs, and I swung at him. In all of my relationship to date with Johnny, I hadn't landed a blow.
So here,
just in my head,
is the one
instantly
moment.
think
Here it is,
of
a close-up.
Kate Moss and the stairs, and I
look at him.
swung at him.
He's so
In
excited.
all of my relationship to date with Johnny,
Why?
I hadn't.
And you'd think, if this was all true, they'd be
landed
very
a
nervous as
blow.
they're hearing it, but they're literally just taking notes.
Just in my head, instantly
But this, I'm
think
trying to pause it on
of
that smile face.
Kate Moss and the stairs.
There he is in slow-mo. Oh! Like, oh, did you just hear that? What? And then there's a fist bump to Camille. Oh my God, they're just like, yes, ding, 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 ding. All right, so we can break down some of this history, but before I even get to the Kate Moss story, this alleged story that Amber's sharing, Christopher, clearly they're excited about something. Do you have any sort of what do you think he's excited about?
Well, yeah, so they're not supposed to react. But sometimes things will happen during trial where you just can't contain it, and this was one of them. There is a risk here to Johnny's team of distracting the jury and thinking like, well, why would they be excited? Because the reference, what would the jury understand from that? Because Amber did not say that Johnny had done anything to Kate Moss or even how Kate Moss is connected to Johnny, who Kate Moss is. So what would these jurors even understand? And we have to remember that to get on the jury, you can't know a whole lot about Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. If you knew intimate details about their life, they probably would have been excluded.
Right.
So, what does this jury know? Probably nothing about that reference at all. Is that, a scene from a movie? Is that, what? So, but if the jury saw that reference, they would be maybe confused by that, to saying like, why would you be excited as the attorney to hear this really negative information? So we know the background that we're going to get into, but I don't know how the jury interpreted that.
Got it. So it is a risky thing. I mean, they've all been reacting. They've been hearsaying and objecting and et cetera throughout this whole case. But all right, so we know that they're excited. Speaking of which, it's a good time to plug. We have a million new shirts up thanks to Brian over the weekend. He made ... He made objection hearsay, which is like it's got so many little Easter eggs, wine bottles, poo emojis, guitars, knives. It's all in there. in your objection hearsay shirts. So pick up those, multiple colors, etc. As well as if you want to stand Camille Vasquez or Dr. Curry, you can now show your love with our t-shirts, as well as the Mega Pint. Mega Pint, I'm going to need a Mega Pint. We got them all, and also Just Got Real, Make It Make Sense. Tons of tank top options, and there's even a hoodie, I think, down below. Scroll through the whole store. Plenty for you guys to get, as you guys have been requesting more and more merch. Now you got it over in the Popcorn Planet store. I'll put it in the pinned comment down below. And thanks to Brian for doing it. You guys have been buying a ton. We're raising a ton for Tampa Bay Crisis Center. So thank you guys so much for all your support. I'm getting them all soon, and you'll be seeing me display them proudly. So don't be jealous. Order yours today. But I say that because the objection here. So they're all doing distractions. Everything's sort of happened throughout. But the Kate Moss things is interesting because she's telling the story, and she told it in the UK trial. It's important that you guys know the backstory. She's only spoken kindly of Johnny Depp. There's a Vanity Fair article that I want to sort of go to first, and she even says, where was the link? She says during a brief but intense romance with Johnny Depp, Moss says she finally felt taken care of. There's nobody that's ever really been able to take care of me. Johnny did it for a bit. I believed what he said. Like if I said, what do I do? He'd tell me, and that's just what I missed when I left. I really lost that gauge of somebody I could trust. Nightmare years of crying over the tears, crying over. There was another line. Did you pull it, Kim? Was that the one I got? There was another one Gene said where he never mistreated her. Did I misread that wrong?
This was what I found. I don't think I saw what Gene said, but I will double check the Telegram.
But anyway, so the quotes that we found as she's talked about, and this was in 2012 after the relationship, have been kind and speaking fondly of Johnny Depp in her history. So let's get to the why. Why are they excited? I mean, most of the places here now are saying, Christopher, and I'm curious, they're out now all speculating because they're bringing up Kate, who was likely on some sort of do not discuss list. It now opens up her as potential testimony, as well as Amber's potential background when she has her own DV charge and girlfriend at stake. Can you sort of enlighten, what are the rules now if this was on a list or something that came up? What are your suspicions now as to why the fist bump was really happening, as to what this is going to open up for Team JD?
Sure. So we start with this concept of relevance in the law. So something is relevant if it tends to prove or disprove a claim. And when you have a he said, she said dispute over who was the aggressor in the relationship, as we're seeing here, what you did with prior relationships is generally not relevant. And so legally speaking, we do not really allow evidence of what you did in a past relationship to prove what you did in a current relationship. Sure, there may be some connections there, but unless it's enough times to develop a pattern, the judge usually excludes it because we're having a hard enough time figuring out what happened between Johnny and Amber. We don't want to have to get into what happened between Johnny and Kate. And it was for that reason that the court had not allowed Kate as a witness. Johnny had Kate on his witness list, but it's my understanding the court said, look, it's too far afield to bring in Kate to say that you were good to her, and for the jury then to somehow conclude you must have been good to Amber because you were good to a prior girlfriend.
So does this open up then? Can Johnny still bring a witness on?
Well, yeah. So he, as the plaintiff, he has two opportunities. His case in chief, which we heard for, it seemed like 2 weeks, he then stopped putting on testimony to give Amber a chance, and now it's her case. Once she's done, he goes into rebuttal phase, which means he can bring in some evidence to respond to things that Amber brought up in her case. And that's where Kate Moss comes in. So at the beginning, it was too attenuated, wasn't relevant to bring in Kate Moss. Well, now Amber made it relevant because she said that she was defending her sister, who was at the top of a staircase, concerned that the sister would wind up just like Kate Moss did. And we don't know what the jury understood of all that, but it's enough of a risk that some juror might think that Johnny pushed Kate down the stairs, and therefore Johnny can bring in Kate to say, no, that never happened. Now, Amber is going to have to explain why she believed this happened, because whether Johnny ever pushed Kate down the stairs isn't necessarily the end of the inquiry. It's whether Amber thought that Johnny did that. And in the moment when she claimed she was defending her sister, that's all that matters. If she believed that Johnny had done something like this before, that would go to Amber's state of mind to saying, wow, I need to defend my sister and I'm going to punch this guy to keep him from pushing my sister down the stairs, which, you know, honestly is not the greatest tactic in the world, but that's what she's claiming.
Interesting. So I guess I did know that, but I'm glad you clarified that we do get, because we, assuming Dr. Curry is going to come back, given all the things that Amber said, we sort of knew that. But yeah, I didn't realize you could also bring in new witnesses. So as images are coming out, maybe there's the photo expert. There's a lot of people we haven't heard from necessarily. So you're saying a lot of those people, just so I'm clear, they can pull in as long as it's in response to Amber, such as the photos you've shown. Here's the expert. Can you attest that that metadata was correct, et cetera? That's the type of stuff that they can really hit home near the end?
Yeah, they can. Now, typically the judge would say, hey, if you knew this was coming, Johnny, you should have put it in your original case so Amber could respond to it. You can't just, you know, slow play and say, oh, now I'm going to wait, put all my evidence at the end. So the court might say, well, were you really surprised that this evidence came out such that it wasn't, you know, expected of you to put it on the case in chief? So we may have some limitations there, and they are running out of time on this trial. But yes, we could hear Kate Moss come back. We could hear the data expert to say that all these photographs that Amber has now shown to the jury, she did not produce the metadata or the native images to show whether these photos had been altered.
Right.
We could also see Kate James, the former assistant, come back and testify about the stolen story accusation that we heard in the UK. So he can come back and clean up some of this stuff.
Interesting. Well, Kate even came up because Amber sort of criticized her and said she was doing a lot of stuff, which if untrue, Kate can now come back and get even more aggressive. And can they, if she was previously deposed and she's on a witness list, can they maybe bring her out as a witness in this follow-up, or is that how that works?
Yeah. So if Amber brings up something like she did now with Kate Moss, it's fair game then on Johnny's rebuttal case to bring in a witness to say, hey, you heard from Amber mention Kate Moss. Here's Kate Moss in her own words, testifying that nothing like that happened. And again, I don't know where the story came from, and I don't know, and Kim, and if your research, if you found, like, is this out there in the universe that Johnny had pushed Kate down the stairs before Amber claimed it?
We both did the work, Kim. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
right? Amber put this in the UK trial, correct?
I think so, yeah. It was, but I'm really finding a lot of difficulty finding sources that are like, this happened. And I think some of that is because this is almost like, it happened a long time ago, you know, and I don't think that the internet news like we have it now was the same as when this happened. So we don't have that paper trail, basically, and I can't go back and find like People magazines from that time and scan through it. I don't know. But at the same time, it doesn't seem like it's fact. And I was very surprised that she was even able to say it in the first place, because to me, I thought, isn't that not like the definition of hearsay?
Well, yeah, it's exactly. And if they burrowed into it, and this is always hard for Johnny's side, because if they cross-examine Amber to say, well, how did you know? Well, then she would say, well, I heard, Johnny told me, I read something, whatever. And it's like, that's the last thing we want to have happen. But what we saw Amber do is some people call word salad or shotgun approach. She comes in there with, I mean, she's probably up to 20 different incidents that she's claiming against Johnny. It makes it very difficult for him to defend against, because there's not enough time to go into every single bad reference that Amber made. And so my guess is that they're going to have to use their time wisely and pick the top 3 lies and expose those, and then hope that the jury concludes everything else is a lie, because there is a jury instruction that the jury will probably get from the judge saying, if you find that the witness was untruthful in one respect, you may conclude that they were untruthful in all respects.
That's encouraging, and that's really gonna be the point. I mean, if they find out that she's making stuff up about Kate Moss, that's not gonna help her credibility at all, I imagine. And I know they're going to be able to point out several inconsistencies. We've proven it through the fact that there were photos of the James Corden show. There were, it's so interesting. She keeps talking about her friends not wanting to travel with her because they wanted her to leave Johnny. Are these people on the stand? It's really weird. Do you think the shotgun approach is really their main approach because they don't have a lot of support? It's really just let's spit it all out, drown him in accusations and things so everyone gets distracted and hopefully we get away with it?
Well, yeah, it to me, and when we're assessing somebody's credibility, when somebody is telling a story and you're trying to test that and then they tell 5 other stories, it's a good sign that they're being untruthful, because that's a diversion tactic that keeps your attention away from proving or disproving their main claim by now then throwing all these other things out there. And it can be effective if the jury is not on its toes or if they're aligned with Amber. And it's, this is the thing about jury trials, is that we have these other humans here or hearing the same information who may be coming to totally different conclusions than we are. And They haven't heard all the evidence, or I can't call it evidence, information that we have either. And that's the other thing is that we're hearing a lot of stuff. They're hearing a very small amount of information that the judge has allowed them to hear.
I mean, any other takeaways while we have you here, and just your sort of thoughts on Amber's testimony in general? I mean, I think the PR team was hopeful and thankful, because a lot of the press outlets are grabbing those headlines and they're putting them all over the place. And that's one approach which I think she wants, right, to combat Johnny's PR. And as she has admitted, her bad headlines, hence why she fired her PR team and admitted that she was doing badly in the press. But it doesn't seem like the public is buying it from everything I'm seeing online, and I'm looking around. There is at times the Amber Heard, I stand with Amber Heard is trending from time to time, but most of that trending is people calling her out and not actually standing with her. There's a handful of people who just seem to be, I believe the women and I believe her. She seems whatever, but overall it seems like she's losing this, right? I mean, what is your takeaway now that we've seen her testify and the public's response?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's hard because I am, I guess, biased or do not believe one word that she's saying. But I have observed with the media, because I'm doing all these interviews in pre-trial, there, especially earlier on, you see news stories coming out that are pro-Amber, which, that's part of this Me Too movement, as I think it was that entertainment lawyer said, is that we shifted to, as a society, to believe the victim and support the victim. And so she got a lot of that support. And then once the trial went underway, there was a big shift over to Johnny to saying, wow, this makes no sense. We had no idea all these inconsistencies were occurring. And it was very supportive of Johnny. But then when this testimony happened over 2 days, the allegations are so serious that I think, media outlets want to go a little bit more to the center. They don't want to be wrong. They don't want to victim bash.
Right.
And so we saw that. We're seeing that kind of shift. We're seeing a lot of also reporters and journalists, unfortunately, commenting on the trial who haven't really spent any time looking at it. And then finally, I would say, yeah, we knew she was going to run the clock. We knew she wasn't going to get done by Thursday, especially because she brought in Dr. Hughes, which sucked up 2+ days of testimony time. So she was going to get this break.
Which, let's give her 1 point. That was a smart move from your perspective, correct?
Oh, yeah. That was a smart move, but it also is a bad move because that gives Johnny's team time to prepare. When you're a trial attorney, it's extremely difficult. These are very long days that his trial team is sitting there in trial, can't get a lot of work done because they're sitting there in trial all day. And then after the trial, they're getting caught up on their life. They're seeing their family. There's really no time to prepare for the next day unless you want to put in 20-hour days.
Right.
So Amber, she could have also, tried to get her testimony done in time so the cross-examination would have been weak because it would have been so unprepared. But now that she gave them 10 days to prepare for cross. And the thing is, what I'm seeing, which is so incredible about at least the social media universe that I'm operating in, which is Twitter, that you seeing now an army of 1 million paralegals, lawyers, legal assistant types researchers, friends of Johnny, coming out there, analyzing this information, saying, what about this? What about that? All these inconsistencies. It is an army of support that if Johnny's trial team is monitoring stuff, could see like, oh my God, I didn't know about that. I mean, you know, when we're putting on even these big trials, like I'll have 3-4 lawyers on a case plus legal assistants. Can you imagine having 1 million people backing you up?
Right.
And that's what Johnny has. So this 10 days, there are so many inconsistencies in her story that hopefully Johnny's team is seeing all this and picking the best ones to launch into the cross.
Yeah, well, I'm going to trim this portion right here. If you want to watch the full one, hit the join. You can always catch our full streams as we talk. We're going to hang here for a while. In fact, I want to watch some more testimony. I think Jody at Jody's Corner's coming in. Lewis is coming in. I think Legal Bites is coming in. Got a lot of special guests. So if you want to watch the unedited versions, make sure you join. Or if you're watching right now, don't go anywhere. We're not done. Christopher, always appreciate your insight. I mean, do you, as last question, you're right? They have more time to prep the examples, to go through a transcript, to figure out how to hit her hard. That's going to make this stronger. And but does that go the other way? Do you think Elaine and team are now going through thinking, all right, this is what they're going to ask us. Here's how to answer that. How do you think the cross is going to go from Camille next week?
Well, I mean, I'm hoping it's going to go well. The court did say that, you know, the counsel's not supposed to talk to even their own client while they're on the witness stand. I had not seen those type of orders in California. I know there's, you know, you're not supposed to interfere with testimony, but, you know, if they're following that rule, they're not really to prepare Amber for further questioning or cross.
Rottenborn said to Johnny, you can't talk to your lawyers. That means Amber can't talk to her lawyers this whole week either. In theory.
Yeah, now,
but
you know, how that definitely, you know, I could see a conversation saying, okay, Amber, we're not talking about your testimony for sure, but let me tell you this other fact that, you know, relates to it. So they may play games like that. But look, I mean, she must have been prepared for this. I don't think she performed well. And my thing was she didn't take responsibility. In my mind, if she would have came up there right from the beginning saying, I messed up in this relationship. I did things that I'm not proud of. I hurt Johnny, but I wasn't the only one. I would have been much more inclined to listen to her. But we've now heard 2 days. She doesn't take responsibility for one thing. Even when she hit him, she says it was in self-defense. So I thought she did horribly. But again, I'm looking at it through my lens, and there's other people who say, oh my God, she's a victim, and, you know, poor Amber.
Poor those people, because you need to do some more homework, in my opinion.